One of the poems in Carmina Burana, it talks about how the author had a 10-hour-long sexual encounter with Venus herself.
And if you have one of those, see a doctor.
See a doctor, yes. See
Get yourself to a hospital.
That's the disclaimer.
That's right.
Yes. Welcome to Classical Rebellion. John,
Good evening.
Yeah, where would you like to go this evening?
Oh my goodness, I would like to go everywhere from Red Square to the Garden of Earthly Delights, and maybe San Bernardino before that.
I thought San Bernardino was the Garden of Earthly Delights.
Well, it will be. It will be next month.
Most people don't know that Hieronymus Bosch actually founded San Bernardino.
Did he really?
He did.
Well,
yeah.
There was a lot of gardening going on in the Inland Empire at that time.
Here's to hoping people know who. I haven't known about Hieronymus. Anyway, you know where I want to go?
Where?
The subscribe button. That's where I want to go.
Let's go there right now. Reach your finger out. Push
right
the
there.
subscribe button.
If you're familiar with classical music organizations, which we are one. They're always trying to get, they're going on some subscription campaign. And they're going to guarantee you the best seats. And we're guaranteeing you the seat you're currently sitting in.
And it comes with a premium as well. If you push that subscribe button tonight, you will receive a warm glow in your innermost being.
Yes.
Because you will have done a service not only to Classical Rebellion, but to art. And in so doing, you will have done a service for you.
You're welcome.
Anyway,
San Bernardino Symphony has their opening concert on Saturday, September 14th at 7:30 p.m.
And I'll be there.
You will? Oh, great.
Oh, I will be there.
All right. You know what? You know who I think should be there?
And if I'm there, that means you can shake my hand.
That's true. But that's not what I was thinking. I think the mayor of San Bernardino should be there.
Absolutely.
As far as I know, the mayor of San Bernardino, I don't even know if it's a man or a woman. Regardless. I'm calling the mayor out anyway. The mayor might be a big supporter of the San Bernardino Symphony and always goes to the symphony. I don't know. However,
let's hashtag him.
We've never done this before.
I'm not aware that anyone's ever done this before.
I hope it works.
Well, the San Bernardino Symphony was founded in 1929, and it is a venerable civic institution. It's a fine orchestra. The maestro Anthony Parnther, their conductor, also conducts the Southeast Symphony, and he's
dynamic. I got a chance to speak for him for an hour at the Association of California Orchestras. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
And I can't talk to a lot of people for about an hour, to be honest with you. Unless I'm talking to someone who clearly loves classical music.
Well, the implication there is also he has a lot to say.
Yes. I learned actually that there are 84 orchestras in LA County.
That blew me away. Los Angeles County.
He just casually dropped that. I was like,
I thought you were talking about there are 84 orchestras in California.
No, just in LA County.
In LA County. So, and the clip that you provided, that you viewed and showed me of Maestro Parnther conducting the Southeast Symphony in the Mahler Second was absolutely solid.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah. I think I think San Bernardino audiences should also take a little road trip to Southeast Symphony.
Absolutely.
I know we're going to both. I'm going to the Southeast Symphony.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be there.
I can't make it to San Bernardino. I can't get up in time. So back to the mayor. We want to see 30 pictures of the San Bernardino mayor at the San Bernardino Symphony. Hashtag San Bernardino mayor.
Hashtag San Bernardino mayor.
Hashtag, you have to do this.
Oh. Hashtag San Bernardino mayor.
And hashtag Classical Rebellion.
Yes.
So
before we go any farther...
on Instagram.
Yeah. Before we go any farther, let's talk about...
in Coda. John, how would you spell in Coda?
No, I think I would probably spell it Nkoda.
That is exactly correct.
I'm so proud.
In Coda is an app.
It is.
I'm using it on iOS. John would be using it on Android.
Android and Samsung. It's an app for accessing music scores.
Just 110,000.
That's all?
That's all.
Oh.
For now.
And how many pages of music is that?
Well, if I were to do the calculation, I'd say it's about 30 million.
30 million pages of music?
Yeah.
For a subscription price of $9.99 a month.
All right. So the opening piece, as far as we can tell, at San Bernardino is...
the Shostakovitch Festive Overture.
Let's bring it up here just in case. And you're correct again. You've been correct twice so far. That's rare.
It comes natural.
You usually get one per episode. Yeah, so
a wonderful piece. I mean, it's a bright. It starts out with some very ponderous fanfare of 26 bars leading up to it's like stretching a bowstring to the breaking point and then boing, letting it go, and this overture just shoots off like a sleigh over snow.
It's thrilling,
just like Ruslan and Lyudmila, or the
Kabalevsky?
The Kabalevsky Kolas Bronyan overture. It's in that tradition, and boy, is it bright and highly optimistic, really positivistic. It's a brass player's holiday. It's almost as if the guy who could send you to the gulag had died the year before.
Ah, yeah.
It was written. It premiered in 54.
That guy's a jerk.
Hey, careful! He can still hear.
I mean,
he's still got ears.
Theoretically,
it was premiered in 54, the year after Stalin died, but it was written in 47. But Shostakovich had been in so much trouble already with getting on the wrong political side with things like Lady Macbeth of Mtsensk and The Nose, so he was holding things back. And as soon as Stalin died, he released his 10th Symphony and his violin concerto. And then the director of the Bolshoi called and said, "Do you have an overture for the opening of the season?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we'll take it." So he had probably written it out in full score, but not written the parts, because it then says he wrote it out during the next 3 days. I think that what that means is he wrote the parts because he wasn't going to let anyone perform it because he could get in too much trouble.
Right.
And it was a big hit. Always has. Anything that Shostakovich has ever written was happy.
Yeah.
This is happy.
Yeah.
And it's a joy. It really is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's fortunate.
Is it fortunate?
It's Fortuna.
Oh, Fortuna. Oh, Fortuna.
Yes. So now we're on to Carmina Burana.
The Carmina Burana, the songs of the Buran, which is an area around a monastery in Germany.
Okay.
Which went extinct in sometime in the late 18th century, and in its ruins they found this collection of poems.
Yeah, 1803 it was discovered. Karl Orff set 24 of the poems. There are 256 or something. So just under 10%.
About 10%.
Yeah. And those poems are, they were written by the Goliards.
Who are the Goliards?
The Goliards. I'm glad you asked.
I'm asking.
Yes, the Goliards. I did not really know too much about the Goliards until I started, actually, a couple of years ago, really getting into Carmina Burana.
These are the guys who wrote these poems.
They wrote the poems. They started off as a sect within the Catholic clergy. And their duty, as they saw it, was to point out the difference between doctrine and practice. And that doctrine wasn't lining up with practice, and they were satirizing the situation, which is a very effective form of criticism.
Sure.
Yeah. Because you can always just say, I was joking.
Exactly. Only they weren't exactly joking.
They got to a point. So let me read it. I've got a note here from the University of Paris. They complained about the Goliards. And this is what was happening. This is the University of Paris's complaint. Priests and clerks dance in the choir dressed as women. They sing wanton songs. They eat black pudding at the altar itself while the celebrant is saying mass. They play dice on the altar. They cense the incense with stinking smoke from the soles of old shoes. They run and leap throughout the church without a blush of their own shame. Finally, they drive about the town and its theaters in shabby carriages and carts, and rouse the laughter of their fellows and the bystanders in infamous performances with indecent gestures and with scurrilous, unchaste words. Scurrilous.
So you know,
with scurrilous.
The neighbors across the alley, like from your house, the frat house that's like, constantly annoying and is like going 24 hours. That's these guys.
Right. And they soon were not a sect within the clergy.
No, they bounced right out.
Yeah. And so they became a sect within the minstrels.
Ah.
Yes. So we had Goliards and troubadours. And troubadours sang about chaste love, chivalrous love.
Idealized.
Yes. Pure love. Love for love's sake.
Right.
And the Goliards sang about sex for sex's sake.
Right. Lechery, gluttony.
Right.
Yeah. Lasciviousness.
Right.
I mean, they didn't hold back.
They did not.
They did not hold back.
In fact,
and that brings us to that mention of the Garden of Earthly Delights, the famous painting by Hieronymus Bosch, which hangs in the Prado Museum in Madrid. And if you've never seen it, it's incredibly detailed with the most tiny figures doing the most lascivious things. Yeah. I mean, it's and sometimes winding up in the most unenviable situations. Yeah. It's sci-fi in art from the early 1400s.
Yeah. Those are the Goliards.
And yeah. It's
and so was Tannhäuser. So this is something I made a connection with, because one of the poems in Carmina Burana, it talks about how the author had a 10-hour-long sexual encounter with Venus herself.
And if you have one of those, see a doctor.
See a doctor. Yes. See
Get yourself to a hospital.
That's the disclaimer.
That's right.
Yes. And I was like, oh well, that's how Tannhäuser starts. He's at the Venusberg, the sex mountain. Yeah. And then
the mountain, the mound of sex. I mean, literally.
Right.
I mean, if I had, I mean, this is pretty direct. It's direct stuff. I mean, this is not High Latin. It's Low Latin. It's Proto-Germanic slang, and it reads much better in English translation. It's very pretty, but in really what it's saying is very blunt.
But what Karl Orff wrote about, the 24 he chose, were basically about the Wheel of Fortune. There is actually a Wheel of Fortune that's not a TV show.
You mean I don't have to buy a vowel?
You don't. You could wager a vowel.
All right. Can I have an O?
O.
Fortuna.
Yes. So the 4 phrases of the Wheel of Fortune are: I shall reign.
I shall reign.
I shall reign. I reign. I have reigned. I have no realm. And if there's a better description of a 3-day weekend in Las Vegas, I haven't heard it. My God.
Well, so Orff,
let's bring it back to
Orff selected these, and the categories were what?
There were 4 categories in the larger text of the 256 some poems: 55 songs of mockery and morals, 131 love/sex songs, 40 drinking and gaming songs, and 2 longer spiritual theater pieces.
Right, so a morality plays.
Yeah.
And the drinking song is like, it gets bigger and bigger, and more people are drinking, and more people are drinking, and everyone drinks, and everybody have a drink. I mean, it's like unbelievable. And that sounds about right for these guys.
It does.
You know?
The one that I really...
all the world's a drink.
Oh, the world's a drink. And all the...
And all the men and women in it, merely drinkers.
Exactly. I like the Swan, though. Yeah, it's a very, very difficult piece of music to perform for any tenor of any voice type. But it's a swan that's being roasted.
Now, what is it about swans? I mean,
it is illegal to kill a swan in almost every single country on Earth to this day.
I did not know that. I mean, I knew that it's illegal to kill a swan in England because the Queen owns all the swans wherever they occur. They're just royal property.
Mm-hmm. Right, and we have, to bring Wagner back into it, we've got Parsifal killing the swan, and this is a terrible thing.
Right.
And then we have Lohengrin being the Swan Knight.
Right.
So what's with the swan?
And the purity of swans.
Right. So the swan, going back all the way to the ancient Greeks, they were associated with Apollo and were bringers of light and grace and perfection. And in medieval heraldry, they performed the same. They were the bringers of knowledge, beauty. The swan song, everything about the swan is elegant, and here it is being roasted, about to be eaten, which is the most mundane of things. Is there anything more temporary than a meal?
Right, because the byproduct of a meal is
the end. Yeah, is the end product.
We were trying to avoid saying anything here that's going to get us like demonetized or anything.
Exactly. No, we don't.
Not that we're excessively monetized.
No, we have to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Hit the
first.
subscribe button.
That's right.
Hit the subscribe button.
That's right. So what it dawned on me was, in a very real way, I think our culture, we eat swans. We don't venerate beauty. We venerate maybe hotness or sexiness. That's what sells. But
you're saying we're sort of like turning
we're swan eaters.
We're consuming,
at
a metaphorical level. We're consuming our society as the turning it, just commoditizing it for in service of a carnal appetite.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we've taken the finest elements of our culture and turned them into something we can easily digest and push right through our system and then go about our day.
I mean, which is not necessarily a slam against popular culture either.
Oh no.
I like the metaphor of the swan. I think that's absolutely spot on.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
So, be the Lohengrin swan.
Be the Lohengrin. And what you're talking about, that's what classical rebellion is. It's rebelling against the
facile.
Yes, the base appetite consumption of culture. And trying to like push back against that, because let's be honest, popular culture is the empire. Classical music is the rebels.
We're the Jedi.
We're the Jedi. We are the Jedi.
Careful, we'll get demonetized.
That's true.
We
don't want to copyright strike.
Anyway, I think let's just say one more time, in Coda.
In Coda.
Thank you. In Coda seems to have some interest in what we do. We really appreciate that.
The gentleman I talked to said it was what we were doing is brilliant.
Well, we'll try to live up to it, but we think that Encoda is pretty brilliant too. And NKODA, go and check out their app.
# San Bernardino Mayor. All right, cool.